and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hey Jason, hi everyone. It's great to be here again, and I'm super excited about today's topic.
Me too. Today, we're talking about something every English learner needs: expanding your vocabulary. If you've ever struggled to find the right words while speaking English, or you feel like you always use the same words over and over again, this episode is for you.
Exactly. Having a strong vocabulary helps you speak more naturally and confidently. Plus, learning new words makes conversations more fun and engaging.
That's right. And today, we'll share some easy tricks to help you learn and remember new words without feeling overwhelmed. We'll also give you practical tips that you can start using immediately.
Yes, so if you're ready to take your vocabulary to the next level, stay with us until the end of this episode.
And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Now let's dive into today's topic. Why is expanding your vocabulary so important? All right, Julia, before we get into the tricks for learning new words, let's talk about why expanding your vocabulary is so important. Why should English learners focus on learning more words?
That's a great question. Jason, vocabulary is like the building blocks of language. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to express your thoughts clearly and confidently.
Exactly. Imagine you're in a conversation and you want to explain something, but you don't know the right words. You might feel stuck or nervous. That's why having a strong vocabulary makes a huge difference.
Yes, and not just in speaking. Vocabulary is important for listening, reading, and writing too. If you know more words, you can understand conversations better, read books and articles more easily, and even write emails or messages without struggling.
Great point. I remember one of my friends who was learning English. He could understand basic conversations, but when he watched movies or listened to podcasts, he always felt lost because he didn't know enough words. Once he started learning new vocabulary every day, everything became much easier for him.
That's such a relatable story. Many learners feel frustrated when they hear native speakers talking fast or using words they don't know. But the good news is, learning vocabulary doesn't have to be difficult, and we're going to show you how.
Absolutely. Also, having a bigger vocabulary helps you sound more natural and fluent. When you know different ways to say the same thing, your speech becomes smoother, and you don't have to repeat the same words all the time.
Yes, instead of always saying very good, you can say excellent, fantastic, or amazing. It makes your English more interesting and expressive.
Exactly. So, to sum it up, expanding your vocabulary is important because it helps you speak with confidence, understand English better, and sound more fluent. And now let's talk about some common challenges people face when learning new words. Now that we know why expanding your vocabulary is so important, let's talk about something every English learner experiences: the challenges of learning new words. Julia, have you ever struggled with learning new vocabulary?
Oh, definitely. And I think most learners face the same challenges. One of the biggest problems is forgetting new words after learning them. You learn a word today and the next day, poof, it's gone.
Exactly. I hear this all the time. People memorize new words, but because they don't use them, often they forget them quickly. It's frustrating.
Yes. Another challenge is not knowing how to use new words correctly. Sometimes learners know the meaning of a word, but they don't know how to use it in a sentence. So they avoid using it because they're afraid of making mistakes.
That's such a good point. English words often have different meanings depending on the context. If you don't see a word in real conversations or sentences, it's hard to use it naturally.
Right. And another common problem is feeling overwhelmed by too many new words. Some learners try to learn 20 or 30 words in one day, and that can feel impossible to remember.
Oh, absolutely. Learning too many words at once can be stressful. It's better to learn a few useful words at a time and actually use them, rather than trying to memorize a long list.
And let's not forget one more challenge: not practicing enough. Some people write down new words in a notebook but never review or use them. If you don't see or hear the word often, it's hard to remember it.
Yes, vocabulary learning is not just about memorizing, it's about using words in daily life. That's why we need effective methods that help us remember and apply new words.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about next: easy tricks to expand your vocabulary. So if you've struggled with forgetting words, not knowing how to use them, or feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. We've got some simple solutions that will make vocabulary learning much easier.
Sounds exciting. Let's dive into some practical tricks that anyone can use to build a stronger vocabulary. All right, now let's get to the exciting part. Easy tricks to expand your vocabulary, Julia. What's the first simple trick learners can use to remember new words?
One of the best ways to remember new words is to learn them in context. Instead of memorizing single words, try to learn them inside sentences or real-life situations.
That's a great tip. For example, instead of just learning the word delicious, you can remember it with a full sentence, like, "This pizza is delicious." That way, when you eat something tasty, you'll naturally remember the word.
Yes, and you can also learn words through stories, articles, or even TV shows. When you see a word being used naturally, it's easier to understand and remember.
Absolutely. So instead of memorizing lists, try to read or listen to English in real situations. All right, here's another trick. Use the new words as soon as possible. If you don't use them, you'll forget them.
That's right. Try using new words in conversations, writing messages, or even talking to yourself. For example, if you learn the word motivated, say something like, "I feel very motivated to learn English today." The more you use a word, the stronger your memory of it becomes.
Exactly. And if you don't have someone to practice with, you can write a short paragraph using the word, or even record yourself saying it out loud.
Another trick that really works is learning words in groups instead of randomly. For example, if you're learning about food, learn words like spicy, sweet, sour, bitter all at the same time.
Oh, I love that method. When you group words together, your brain connects them, and it's easier to remember. Instead of just learning the word angry, learn related words like upset, frustrated, furious. That way, you can express yourself more naturally.
Yes, and it also helps with fluency because you don't have to stop and search for words. You already have a few options ready to use.
Now, for those who like using apps, flashcards are a powerful tool. Apps like Anki or Quizlet help you review words with pictures and sentences.
Yes, flashcards are great because they help you see the word multiple times before you forget it. Plus, if you add images or examples, it's even easier to remember.
That's so true. And the best part? You can review flashcards anytime, anywhere, even if you have just 5 minutes while waiting for a bus.
Here's another fun trick. When you learn a new word, also learn a synonym or an opposite word to double your vocabulary.
Oh, that's smart. For example, if you learn happy, you can also learn joyful as a synonym and sad as the opposite.
Yes, this helps you expand your vocabulary faster and makes your English more natural because you won't always use the same words.
Now, one of my favorite tricks: watching English movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos with subtitles. It's a great way to see new words in action.
Yes, and the key here is to read the subtitles and listen at the same time. If you hear a word you don't know, pause and write it down.
Exactly. And after the movie, try using at least one or two new words you learned in a sentence.
Last but not least, keeping a vocabulary journal can be super helpful. Write down new words, their meanings, example sentences, and even draw little pictures.
Oh, that's a great habit. Writing things down helps your brain remember them better. Plus, you can always review your journal later to refresh your memory.
Yes, and don't just write the words, use them in your daily life. That's the key to really expanding your vocabulary.
Absolutely. So, to quickly summarize, learn words in context, use them immediately, group them by theme use flashcards, learn synonyms and opposites, watch content with subtitles, and keep a vocabulary journal.
Exactly. These are all simple but powerful tricks that will help you learn new words faster and remember them longer.
And now, let's talk about some fun and creative ways to practice vocabulary daily. So, Julia, we've talked about easy tricks to expand vocabulary. But now, let's answer an important question. How do we make vocabulary learning a habit? Because let's be honest, if we don't practice regularly, we'll forget everything.
Exactly. Learning vocabulary is not about studying for one day and then stopping. It's about building a daily habit so that learning new words becomes natural and easy.
Right. So, let's go over some simple ways to turn vocabulary learning into a daily habit.
One of the best ways to stay consistent is to set a small daily goal. For example, decide to learn just one new word a day. It's easy, simple, and adds up over time.
Oh, I love that. One word a day doesn't feel stressful, but by the end of the year, you'll have learned 365 new words. That's amazing progress.
Yes, another great habit trick is to attach vocabulary learning to something you already do. For example, if you drink coffee every morning, review one new word while sipping your coffee.
That's a great idea. Or if you take the bus to work or school, use that time to read a sentence or listen to a podcast with new vocabulary.
Exactly. The key is to connect learning with daily activities so it becomes automatic.
Another powerful way to build a habit is to use new words in real life. If you learn a new word, challenge yourself to use it in a conversation or in a text message to a friend.
Yes, or even try writing a short sentence every day using a new word. Writing helps you remember better.
Here's a fun trick. Reward yourself. If you stick to your vocabulary habit for a week, treat yourself to something small, like watching your favorite show or eating your favorite snack.
Oh, I love that. Rewards make learning more fun and they give you motivation to keep going.
Finally, remember that even 5 minutes a day is better than nothing. The secret to expanding your vocabulary is not studying for hours, but practicing a little bit every day.
Yes, consistency is more important than speed. Even if you just learn one word a day, you're making progress.
Exactly. So, to sum up, set a small daily goal, attach learning to your routine, use new words in real life, reward yourself, and stay consistent.
These little habits will help you keep learning new words effortlessly and make English a natural part of your life.
Perfect. Now, let's move on to the final part. The conclusion and key takeaways from today's episode. Wow. Julia, this has been such a helpful conversation. We covered a lot of great tips today on how to expand vocabulary easily and make learning a habit.
Yes. Just to quickly recap, we talked about why expanding vocabulary is important, the common challenges learners face, easy tricks to learn new words, and how to build a daily habit to keep improving.
Exactly. And remember, vocabulary growth doesn't happen overnight. It's about small daily efforts that add up over time. The key is to be consistent, have fun, and use words in real-life situations.
That's right. And now we have a little challenge for you. Learn one new word today and use it in a sentence. Whether you write it, say it, or text it to a friend, just use it.
Great challenge! And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this podcast with anyone who wants to improve their English vocabulary.
Yes, and tell us in the comments, what's a new word you've learned recently? We'd love to see your responses.
All right, that's it for today. Keep learning, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye for now, and happy learning.